This content features my AI-generated voice and an AI avatar. The content, opinions, and professional assessments are entirely my own and are based on my original materials. Using advanced technology allows me to bring you new content more quickly, more consistently, and even more up-to-date insights. Now enjoy watching and listening.
Hello, I'm Dr. Martin Baxman. Today, let's talk about some of the most critical strategic decisions you'll face, especially when setting up a new practice. You know, many of us are taught that a massive practice with tons of chairs is the ultimate sign of success. But I'm here to tell you, that belief can be a real trap. Without a firm grasp of the numbers, a bigger office can very quickly generate far more stress than it does profit. So it really all boils down to this fundamental question. Is your practice truly designed for profit, or is it, perhaps unintentionally, designed for stress? I had a colleague call me not long ago, genuinely worried because a competitor opened a 10-chair practice in his small town. And I get it, on the surface, that sounds incredibly intimidating, right? But the reality of a setup like that, well, it's often a completely different story. Let's just break down the math for a moment. In a highly efficient, lean practice, one chair might see a patient every 15 minutes. Over an 8-hour day, that's 32 patients. Simple enough. But for a 10-chair practice to be full utilized, you need to see over 1,200 patients a week. A week? To sustain that kind of volume, you need a staggering 5,000 active cases on the books. In a town of 20,000 people, that's just statistically improbable. And here's the crucial point. That 10-chair practice isn't just a clinical challenge, it's a massive financial burden. The overhead, the staffing costs, the marketing dollars required to even attempt to fill those chairs are immense. It perfectly illustrates this simple truth. Bigger isn't always better. A lot of the time, it's just more expensive. So let's dig into this myth of scale, because it really is a case of more chairs, more problems. And these challenges, they go way beyond just patient volume. They create significant operational headaches, particularly for you as the doctor and for your entire team. First, let's talk about the modern staffing crisis. For a single doctor, trying to run a 10-chair operation is a recipe for burnout. It's a physical and mental marathon. If you're spending just 1 minute at each chair, you're just running. There's no time for thoughtful treatment planning, no time for meaningful patient consultations. But honestly, the even bigger issue today is staffing. Can you imagine trying to find 12 skilled, loyal assistants in this market? It's a monumental challenge. Decades ago, I could post an ad and get 50 applications. Today, we're actively recruiting on social media. Your practice design has to be manageable for the team you can actually hire and retain. This brings us to one of the most important decisions you'll make, your clinical layout. It's time to rethink the space and put an end to the assembly line model. I've seen so many practices built around that large open bay concept, but let's be frank, that model is completely outdated. When you compare the philosophies here, the contrast is just night and day. The open bay is a relic of the 1980s. It's an assembly line built to meet the absolute lowest of patient expectations. But our patients today are different. They're informed, they're savvy, and they expect privacy and personal attention. Individual rooms, while they do require more organization, deliver a far higher level of service and satisfaction. And let me be clear, this isn't just a preference, it's a competitive necessity. And this is where you see the clinical benefit. When a patient is in a private, quiet environment where they feel they have your undivided focus, the entire dynamic just shifts. They become more grateful for your care, and this is key, they become much more compliant with treatment protocols. This not only improves their outcomes, but it also makes our work fundamentally more fulfilling. Okay, so if we agree that individual rooms are the way to go, how do we make them truly efficient? That's the big question, isn't it? The key is to design each operatory to be completely self-sufficient. The protocol is actually pretty straightforward. First, you standardize every single room. They have to be mirror images, stocked identically. Your team should be able to reach into any drawer literally without looking and know exactly what they're grabbing. This eliminates that unprofessional and time-wasting dance of running between rooms for a curing light or a specific wire. We also use internal chat systems and phones to connect every room to the front desk, so an assistant never has to leave a patient's side to handle an administrative task. The goal here is simple but incredibly powerful. We want to eliminate the spaghetti of disorganized movement. Just picture it, the wasted steps, the chaotic energy of staff crisscrossing the office all day. A self-sufficient operatory replaces all of that chaos with a calm, focused, and highly efficient workflow. Now, clinical speed is only half the battle. Your administrative and laboratory support systems have to be just as efficient, so let's talk about optimizing those with smart tech and strategic outsourcing. Here are 2 simple upgrades that deliver major gains. First, for administrative bottlenecks, put 2 monitors on every desk. This is a game changer. It allows staff to manage the calendar on one screen while handling emails or software on the other, and it dramatically reduces the mental fatigue of constant window switching. Second, you have to mitigate your in-house lab risk. Most of the heavy lifting, aligners, twin blocks, you name it, can be outsourced more effectively and safely to specialized digital labs. What you want to do is adopt a lean laboratory approach. This means keeping a small, agile, in-house area for quick repairs and minor adjustments while outsourcing the bulk of your production. This not only slashes your overhead on expensive equipment, but more critically, it protects your practice from a crisis. What happens if your only technician falls ill? If you've outsourced, you're covered. It's a key risk management strategy. So when you combine all these principles, a manageable scale, a patient-centric design, self-sufficient operatories, and lean support systems, you start to build the foundation for a practice that can essentially run on autopilot. And if you're starting a new practice, this is your golden opportunity. Use those initial, less booked months for intensive team training. Get your scripts and manuals established immediately. Conduct role-playing for your front desk and treatment coordinators so they're confident from day one. By focusing on quality systems over patient quantity early on, you build a culture of excellence that will sustain you for years to come. And this is the ultimate goal. The whole purpose of these systems is to build a practice that runs smoothly and predictably, freeing you from constant firefighting. It allows you to finally step back from managing chaos and focus entirely on your core clinical expertise, which is where you provide the most value and, frankly, where you'll find the most professional satisfaction. So I'll leave you with this question to reflect on. Looking at your own operations, what is the single biggest source of inefficiency, the biggest piece of spaghetti in your practice today? Identifying it is the first real step toward building a leaner, more profitable, and a much less stressful future.